Just have to wait for Sue. Just waiting on Sue. Maybe a 2-minute from the planning commission meeting last night. I think that would help.
You've cut up most of us now.
No,
Oh, no, but you're getting Steve. Gotcha. Okay.
we'll do it at the finance. Just, we won't sing, we'll just happy birthday, Steve. Oh, I hear Sue grabbing some bandage. Feel free. Are we muted? Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the public hearing. I will call this public hearing to order and ask everyone to please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay. Maria, roll call, please.
Councilmember Gully is absent. Councilmember Figueroa is absent. Councilmember Steele. Councilmember Men.
Present.
Councilmember Conley Wilson.
Present.
Councilmember Soriento.
Here.
Council President Mantello.
I am here.
5 are present.
Council President. Council President, I move that the council resolve itself into a committee of the whole for the purpose of conducting a public hearing.
Thank you, Councilmember Steele. Maria, if you could please read the publication.
The City Council of the City of Troy will hold a public hearing on March 23rd, 2023 at 5:30 p.m. in the City Council Legislative Chamber, Troy City Hall, 433 River Street, 5th floor, Troy, New York. In connection with the following matters, the purpose of the public hearing is to consider a proposal to permanently discontinue Northern Drive from 5th Ave West to New Turnpike Road, aka New Schaghticoke Road.
Thank you. We'll now open the public hearing. I know there is no one signed up. There is no one in the chamber to speak, but we have our Planning and Economic Development Commissioner with us, Steve Strikeman. And Steve's just going to walk us through some of the concerns that were relayed last night at the Planning Commission meeting. I think mostly, if not all, were all addressed. So Steve, if you could just walk us through the proposal real quick, and then some of the things that were mentioned.
Am I gonna feedback? No.
You're
Okay,
good.
Good. Okay. So the proposal again is to close Northern Drive between between 5th Avenue and New Turnpike Road. It's one block, it's one way. It's really a gateway to the Lansingburg neighborhood from the northeast, and it really does not present well. It's very wide, lots of asphalt. In the past, when there was an auto dealer there, it was even worse. But we've had interest from contiguous property owners to purchase the property. There is a water main running through the property, so there would have to be an easement on the property. Nobody would be able to build structures on there. However, they could landscape and increase their parking area and really beautify the area a little bit and increase the pedestrian walkability of the area. I have observed the vehicles passing through the area during the morning rush hour. It is again one way left, and what does happen is vehicles heading north on Fifth Avenue, instead of getting on to 125th Street, will angle back on this road and then up Northern Drive. And there are bus stops there as well. The bus stops there and picks up children going to New Turnpike School. I've spoken with the Lansingburg School District and with the transportation coordinator, Director of Transportation, Gary Valenti. He says that it would not be an issue to reroute the vehicles and replace the bus stops as well. CDTA does not have any active routes that go through that area. The issue really is the traffic signals on 125th Street aren't really synced up very well. So if you go up on if you go up Fifth Avenue and then you turn left, you sometimes can't even get through the intersection. So that's something that really needs to be addressed. But the workaround now is people that are, or vehicles that are avoiding that intersection and turning left on Northern Drive have the opportunity to turn westbound on 124th Street and come around and come up to that area. Last night at the public hearing, there were 3 speakers. One was opposed to it in principle because there are vehicle timing issues that need to be addressed on 125th Street. This speaker did not live in the area. We had 2 speakers, one that lives west on New Turnpike and one that lives east on Fifth Avenue. The one living west had questions and in the end was comfortable with the proposal, recognizing that any improvement to that area would be beneficial to all residents, as did the resident who lived on Fifth Avenue came out in support in the first place. So making the change, again, it's one-way westbound. It gets rid of a 5-way intersection that probably is not very good for the traffic timing already. And there are alternative opportunities for vehicles to avoid 125th Street if they're going northbound. So in general, the Planning Commission's only recommendations were last night at the public hearing that the city should look into the signal timing and striping, should work with CDTA and the school district basically to make sure they're okay with it. So that has been done. And again, I think it's unlikely that we're going to look at the vehicle timing before this happens, but I don't think there's really any change. The net change is that vehicles will relocate to 124th Street instead of Northern Drive.
Steve, I really appreciate this, and you should know, about 3-4 weeks ago, I was really iffy about this proposal, and I definitely have leaned more non-iffy. I'm still not sold totally. You and I talked about this, but a couple of quick things. Turnpike School, obviously, right down the street, north, kind of west north. I'm super familiar with this intersection. I grew up on the hill. We walked it. So, hey, if you could just take the conversation out in the hallway. Sorry. So saying that, some of the concerns I think you've addressed, a couple of my concerns, walkability, the safety, the public safety of the kids that do walk to school there. There are, kids that do walk. One of the other things was the timing of the traffic, the intersection. I actually think potentially closing this may help a little more walkability. But at the same time, I did have a concern about the main, and just for the council, when the mayor and I took office, literally within a month into our term, in 2016, that main blew, and it is a main, one of our major mains. So obviously can't disrupt the property, et cetera. I guess, another one of my concerns, the landscaping, who, obviously the folks from Old Daily own the old Sunset, so they own south. And then we have a new property owner who's redeveloping the gas station. He's north. Who is going to or who is going to do that landscaping? Will it be the city? Will it be the two of them?
So the answer to that is we don't know yet who, because the city council is going to declare this surplus property and then offer it out to the public. And whether both of them, one of them, or somebody else offers to purchase the property, we won't know. However, the city council can put conditions on there, and any changes there, since they're commercial properties with new lots, they'll go through planning commission review. for
Okay,
that.
that's good to know, because I guess my biggest concern, we offer it up, discontinuing, it goes to surplus, and we lose potential control of what happens there. Obviously, like you said, the easement would have to retain for the water main, but I just want to make sure, that it doesn't end up just a parking lot. I'd like to see, some green space, some landscaping, if this is going to be done, have it be done right, and
And we certainly can put conditions on the proposal of this, that the purchaser would need to do the survey, create the easement, record the easement, be responsible for all those costs, present a plan for the city council to review with the proposal. That would be subject to planning commission review. I don't think you're losing any control really on it. And I don't think you have much to lose from speaking with both of the potential purchasers. They have plans there that would enhance the area, not continue it in its existing character.
Okay, one last question. What if we discontinue the street and the city retained ownership, but because nothing permanent can really go there, no permanent structure,
Right.
et cetera. So what about permits, a permit for that area rather than totally just selling it? I mean, what if we need it in the future? And is Chris okay with surplusing this?
So Chris Wayland
Yeah.
is okay with surplusing it, as is Corporation Council, provided that the easement is recorded. The fire department has basically signed off on this proposal as well. I don't have it in writing, but I did speak with Chief McMahon, and it's not a needed location to get through. They can get where they need to go. I don't know if, I would say that us maintaining it is probably not in the best.
Well, not so much
Long-term.
us maintaining it, but a permit, you know what I'm saying? Like
Yeah.
we have, authorized permits for non-permanent usage.
So you
so-
could discontinue the street
Right.
and then offer, I guess I would need Rick to describe how to do it. And the first step tonight would be, or not tonight,
Right,
but on
to
Thursday would be
discontinue.
discontinue the street and then figure out how we want to
Yeah.
deal with that.
I just
Yeah.
throw that out there. I know, when I was at Canal, property issues, and, don't get me wrong, you don't want to own something that's going to be a burden down the road, but this obviously wouldn't be a burden. And I don't know if there's any benefit to us selling it outright. So that's why I thought maybe we could issue a permit, and, because they can't put anything major on the property anyway. know?
Right. So if you maintained it and gave a permit, I mean, they might want to do less because they're not sure. I mean, if it's a revocable permit, at
Right.
what point that would become revoked? So, and again,
Mhm.
with the easement, we can always get on there. We can have an easement for, well, I wouldn't want to recommend an easement for a future street, but if you had an easement, you have the easement, it's going to be a 25-foot easement to be able to maintain, dig up, improve that. utility and not be responsible for any repairs that need to be done to the property owner's cost. But
Right.
given that it was just replaced, I think that should be fine. So
Okay.
I would think that just selling the property probably is most beneficial to us.
Okay, appreciate that feedback. And no one came forth in the immediate area saying this is a horrible idea, et cetera. And Testos, did they weigh in at all? Because obviously.
Testos did not weigh in.
Okay.
I know that the owners to the north and south liked the proposal. And again, there were questions from someone on Fourth Avenue, but in the end, she was very comfortable with it. Having said that,
Right.
it's just an ugly road the way it is.
It truly is. Like a lot of people, honestly, who aren't from that area or from Troy think it's an alleyway and, but it's a full-fledged street. No, it is kind of an odd street. So anyway, okay. Did anyone else have questions? Okay, Steve, thank you. Before we close, anyone here for the public hearing? Okay, I will. Oh, you are. Would you like to speak, sir? Thank you. Oh, no, this is the public hearing on Northern Drive closure. All right, not Northern Drive, the major Northern Drive, the piece of Northern Drive between Fourth and Fifth Ave. Okay, thank you. Just in case somebody just joined, we aren't closing Northern Drive. All right, I'll take a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Thank you, Councilmember Steele. Is there a second?
Second.
Second, Councilmember Soriento and Councilmember Conley Wilson, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Public hearing closed. We'll start the finance in 10 minutes. And Maria, can we get our clocks fixed? Thank you. All right, there's a little raucous in this room that I want to now change. Welcome to the finance meeting. It is Thursday, 6:06. I would ask everyone to please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. And Eric, why don't you lead us in the pledge tonight? Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Now, my son, who has special needs, is obsessed with the Pledge of Allegiance. When we get to the which it stands, for some reason, we can't get him to say, and for the which it stands. So needless to say, someday I'll invite him to say the pledge. It's so beautiful. But anyway, every time we say it, I hear him in the background for the widget stands. Correct, better than the witches. Thank you, Councilmember Steele. You are on tonight. All right, we'll take a roll call. Councilmember Gully is absent. Councilmember Figueroa. Councilmember Steele. Present. Councilmember Mann.
Here.
Councilmember Conley Wilson. Councilmember Soriento. Here. And Council President Mantello, we are here. We have 6 present, 1 absent. And before we get into anything, we have a department head with us this evening who puts quite a bit of time here in the city. And he has a very special occasion today, and that being his birthday. So we want to wish Steve Strikeman, our Commissioner of Planning and Economic Development, a wonderful year ahead, a very, very happy birthday. And unfortunately, the council wants to sing. So happy birthday to Steve. Happy birthday to Steve. Happy birthday to Steve. Happy birthday to you. Are you 1? Are you 2? We won't go that far. Happy birthday, Steve. All right, presentation of the agenda. Yes, make a wish that you weren't here. Sorry. Sue and I are on tonight, man. Okay, presentation of the agenda. We have a number of resolutions. A few of the resolutions will be seeing eye on this special meeting following this, and public forum will open it up to the public. And if anyone would like to speak on any item on the agenda, please feel free to step up. Awesome. Thank you so much.
Hello, members of the council, Madam President. I am Gary Nelson.
You could pull that right over, Gary. Thank you. However you'd like, yeah.
Gary Nelson. I am the council appointed member to the Troy Sustainability Task Force. The item I am addressing is item number 37 on your agenda. The resolution in support of the City of Troy Community Solar Campaign, sponsored by Councilperson Wilson. What this is about is the Sustainability Task Force has been devoting most of our time to a list of tasks that under the Climate Smart Communities program of NYSERDA offers grants to cities who attain particular levels of doing the activities. We are currently in line for about a $40,000 to $50,000 grant due to the activities we've already undertaken. But among the items are 4 community campaigns. So these are the ones that are most intense in terms of outreach to the community and getting community participation. They are, to enumerate them, the electric vehicle program. We get points for people who purchase electric vehicles, smart heating and cooling, such as installing heat pumps, demand responsive metering. People can sign up through National Grid for that. And the solar option, which is what I'm addressing. There are actually 2 parts of that. One is one can have a household installed solar installation, rooftop. But the one we're particularly addressing is community solar. So that involves various vendors who will provide through your utility, which is National Grid in most cases, a solar source of energy and offer a discount on the electric charge accordingly for the renewable provision of the energy. What we're proposing here is somewhat like the model that Solarize Troy did a number of years ago, which was to issue an RFP for a vendor that we then kind of certify as the best one we have found, and then promote that one in particular to the community. In principle, that doesn't prevent anybody from going to another vendor, but I've seen a list of approximately 15 vendors who may mail you and send circulars and so forth. So what this is a proposal jointly with the Economic Development Department of Troy and the Sustainability Task Force to issue an RFP, select out of the vendors by a number of criteria, the one we think is most favorable to Troy in terms of both the economic benefit to the individual consumers and possible community benefit in terms of, okay, if they build solar plant to do it locally, to do workforce development in doing that, possibly even city ownership of the generating plant. But that would all be determined according to the offerings we get. So the resolution is basically just to support the idea, and the practical outcome of that would be that we jointly issue the RFP sometime in the not distant future, select the vendor, and then promote that to the community. And then according to the signups in the community, we get the points and ultimately the grants coming back to the city through the Climate Smart Communities program. So that's what we're proposing and what the resolution supports. Thank you. Dylan?
Thanks, Gary. And when we get to the actual resolution, I know Dylan is going to walk us through, if you don't mind. And Gary, that was very, very helpful. Thank you. And thank you for your service on the task force. Appreciate it. Thank you. Would anyone else like to speak on any item on the agenda? Hi,
Good evening,
good evening.
Eric Wisher, 30 Fairfield Road, UFA President. Resolution 33 says we're going to be in agreement to buy a new pumper.
Yes.
Last time we bought a pumper, we bought 3 to get a better deal, a discount. The letter of support, I believe, says it's going to be 24 to 36 months to get this vehicle, right? We already have going to replace a 20-year-old vehicle, and we have another vehicle that's 15 years old of the same type, that if we can't get something for 3 years, will be 18 years old. The NFPA, National Fire Protection Association recommendation for a frontline fire engine is 10 years. We're already at 15 and 20. Could we, to save money, could we purchase 2? If it's going to take that long to get them, like we did last time?
Eric, it's a finance meeting, so, certainly I want to talk to you about this. This is the first, I'm hearing this proposal. Did the chief, talk to the mayor? Do you know if there's been any communication regarding, that issue or that proposal?
None that I know of.
Okay. Did you talk to the chief?
No.
Okay.
Last time we did it right here at the podium, right? I believe Councilman Ash Cummins, we were going to buy a used pumper.
That's right.
We went with a new pumper. And he said, if we buy 2, do we get a better deal? And I said, if we buy 3, you get an even better deal. And we bought 3 1 year apart.
All
We
right.
locked in at one price, right?
What year was that?
2018, December of 2018.
Can you do me a favor and speak to the chief
Sure.
about this? And obviously tonight's finance, so if it does pass tonight, we still have 2 weeks to potentially work with this. I do see the deputy mayor. I think the mayor was here earlier. There he is. Mayor, has this been talked about at all? Eric's idea? obviously, well, I'm using the word obviously a lot, but money is an issue, I'm
Right.
sure.
Like previous meetings, we're buying extra pipe for the
I get it.
transmission line to save money. We're buying other materials to save money because they're hard to get. Right?
Yeah.
So Mayor, has. Okay, so let's double back with the chief, Eric, and if you could sit down with him, certainly we're open, to hearing and being more efficient is important, both financially and public safety wise. So
Okay.
if you could keep us posted, please schedule a meeting with the chief and let's try to at least talk between now and the regular meeting.
Okay.
Okay,
Thank
that's
you.
very fair and
Yeah.
thank you for bringing
Nope,
it to our
thank you.
attention. Thank you. Thank you, Eric. All right, would anyone else like to speak on any item on the agenda? Okay, we're going to close the public forum, go right into the legislation, Resolution 29. Resolution of Troy City Council authorizing Bryce Properties LLC, thank you, Seamus, to perform work on the city-owned portion of the Uncle Sam Atrium Pedestrian Mall. Council President Mantello, at the request of the administration, is there a motion?
So moved.
Motion, Councilmember Men, is there a second? Second, Councilmember Conley Wilson. Steve, take us away on this one. Very complicated and complex issue. And I know that you have been discussing this issue with the Planning Commission, with Mr. Bryce, and he is going to be held accountable on a number of issues. So if you could walk us through.
I
Thank
will,
you.
thank you. So this has been approved by the planning commission, and the difficulty with it is that the building that is planned to be demolished and rebuilt is attached to the city-owned atrium. So any changes that occur there need to be approved by the city council. I have always expressed to Bryce Companies that this had to be going in parallel with the planning commission and with the city council as well. So he's been.
Appreciate that.
So he's been approved by the planning commission, and I've done my best to keep you up to date with this as it's occurred. Because they needed financing, there's previously a letter signed by council president and majority leader, basically agreeing that in principle, we agree to these changes. Now we're looking for it really to be enacted. And basically what the proposal is to first build a new southern wall on the atrium on Bryce Properties. And after that is complete and structurally tied into the building, then the rest of the building to the south could be demolished. Our concern is we need to review the plans. We need to make sure it's going to be a safe, basically going to be a safe structure. So within here, some of the requirements are that their engineering plans need to be reviewed by a city hired engineering firm to be paid for by the developer. And that, I'm sorry, I should really go through this and look at these ones in an order. So they're going to give us the detailed report, and then we're going to have our own engineer pay for it or review it, paid for by Bryce Companies. They will establish an escrow account, basically to cover all costs related to our review. That they're going to also secure a performance bond for any work they do related to the construction and demolition associated with the atrium. We're not requiring a performance bond for anything for the new building to the south, which when complete will be 5 feet away from our structure. They're also, this new wall that they're building is going to be on Bryce Properties during the construction, and upon completion, the city will accept that property. So we're going to gain about 8 inches, or I'm sorry, 12 to 18 inches to 2 feet. I'm not sure yet exactly, to the south. So the atrium property will expand. The interior of the atrium is really not going to expand. Let's see. And then they'll deed that back to us. There is an operating agreement in place that dates back 30, 40, whatever years, that is based on the fact that this is an atrium, a mall. and it's not a mall anymore. So we need to renegotiate this contract. So we're going to be renegotiating that. It may not be complete before the rest of this project is done, but it needs to be, they can't keep they can't maintain this 24 hours a day open to the public, or even 18 hours a day open to the public. It's not a mall.
Right.
So that needs to be negotiated. Let's see, any IDA benefits will be procured through the city IDA, not the county IDA. Let's see, they also, for our geothermal, that I owe you a memo on where we stand with that. They will build their new building to be able to tie into the geothermal. They will allow any geothermal lines to run through that property so that we don't have to dig up River Street again, or 3rd Street again, for that space. And any other, the catch-all, any other requirements of the corporation council. So basically, we're trying to get them to move forward with this project. And it's all, so they can get their financing. Once they have their financing, all these pieces will come into place, and then they can move forward with their project.
And Steve, I appreciate your work with this because it is a complex issue. The atrium, at one time was bustling with the theater and some stores. It was at one time when I was very, very, very young. But saying that, my biggest question is in terms of timing. What if it potentially goes into the late fall and winter? The farmers market is in the atrium. Will they be housed elsewhere? Because the construction of this wall and the development is going to take quite a bit of time.
Well, we're hoping that the asbestos abatement that precedes this work and the rest of that can be done in time over the summer and be completed in time for the farmers market moving back in the fall. That's what we're hoping for. I
Wow.
don't have a plan B.
So potentially you see all of this coming into place with the wall and the demolition of the southern part happening all before fall and winter.
Let's hope. It's getting tight. But
Definitely.
they've been working on their financing. They are through planning commission, so now it's more getting their permits reviewed and moving forward.
Did anyone speak at the planning commission meeting for, against, any concerns with this proposal?
Not really. Most of the comments were they would like to see something happen with this building. The Historic Review Commission reviewed it and made their recommendations. There were changes made. Initially, the ground floor to the new structure was going to be all parking, and the Planning Commission basically said we want it lined with retail, whether it be for the farmers market or whatever else. But nobody was really in opposition to this.
In terms of the public portion, you mentioned, we all know it's not used as a mall anymore. However, the building it was probably kept public for that particular purpose. Federal, state money went into the atrium. What negotiations will transpire in terms of that public portion? How do you see the agreement, and did the agreement expire or was it into perpetuity?
I think it was a 99-year agreement, so we're 40 years or so into it. It was what, the 70s. So no, it will still be maintained by the city, and this only takes care of half of the problem.
Right.
Because the atrium is still attached on the north to Bryce-owned properties, but at least it gets us a little bit closer. And I think the reason to maintain this property by the city is the farmers market, because there really isn't another viable location for them in the city. We've looked in Lansingburg, we've looked up at RPI, and none of them really meet their needs, and we don't want to see them heading west. I mean, they had at one point looked at going in on Route 2 to the Bent Fitness building. Right. So this, I think, is the best way for us to keep them here, which is really a benefit for our downtown retailers, for Troy. I mean, we all love the farmers market and we recognize the economic benefits of it.
Yeah, I spoke to Steve, who's the executive director of the farmers market a couple of weeks ago, and he's concerned, but at the same time, he's good so far. So All I ask, once this potentially is passed, that you keep us in the loop, not forget about keeping us abreast and up to date.
Okay.
All right.
Council President.
Councilmember Soriento.
I received a question. Is this part of the atrium considered city parkland?
It's not considered parkland. We've done some review on that. There's parkland is to the south of the building, there's a wider sidewalk in that area on the south. That is parkland. But the atrium is not. We do not need state permission to alienate this. We're not alienating it.
Now, in the packet, I'm showing here that they're looking to construct a 4-story residential structure on it.
Yes,
Okay.
with parking on the first floor and retail.
Okay. When did you do you know of when they're supposed to start doing that, or?
Well, I think
What-
the first thing is separating the buildings and then doing the demolition. So it's certainly it's going to be a spring of 2024 is my guess before construction starts of the new building, not of the wall.
Okay.
The wall is going to have to be the first thing.
The wall has to be the first thing. Okay, I'm just a little concerned with this. I know that today we're just voting on the wall. But with the development, it does concern me seeing that, our staffing levels for our police and fire. I don't know if that's gonna really balance out with all of this new development coming on. So I'm just a little concerned about it. And I think rightfully so.
Absolutely.
I don't want to see, us working our fire and police to death, I'm concerned. So I want it brought out.
And the proposal is market rate housing.
Mhm.
So again, you have different levels of response for different types of buildings, and I don't really see any concern here with that.
Okay.
Probably any worse than what you have right now with a vacant building with issues.
Yeah, well, I'm not opposed to, growth, but I'm all for balancing out, public safety with the progress that we're making with the developments in Troy. So just had to throw that out there.
It's fair. Thank you,
Mhm.
Councilmember Soriento. Would anyone else like to speak or ask any questions? Rick, thank you so much, for obviously raising some of these issues. I can definitely see your language in some of these, and we appreciate that. Rick, you'll be the one negotiating the new agreement with Mr. Bryce. Do you foresee anything major that you'd like to accomplish from those negotiations?
Because the purpose of the structure will be altered to some extent. I haven't really anticipated it very much. I really have to know more about the plans, I think. But I think we're going to want them to maintain it consistently, and perhaps it might be a lot of the maintenance was let go
Yeah,
under the old agreement. I would like to put more teeth in the new agreement.
I like that.
Secondly, I thought I wrote the resolution that Bryce would have to enter into another agreement with the city for the construction of the wall.
Oh,
Okay,
okay, yes.
because currently it's just a plan presented to the
Commission.
commission, and I really think we need a contract. And if I can explain a little bit, normally when you're doing municipal construction, you go out to bid and you have prevailing wage and all that stuff like that. He's going to be required to pay prevailing wage. The reason this one isn't going out to bid is because essentially it's sole source.
Right.
There's no one else. It's his land. And on both sides of the atrium, we really can't do it through a professional bid.
Yeah.
Okay.
Very helpful, Rick.
Any other questions?
Did anyone else have questions? Rick, super helpful. Thank you. Thank you. I want you on site monitoring the progress of this, okay?
But at your desk, please.
Thank you, Rick. Further discussion. Thanks, Steve. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? All right, resolution 29 carries 6-0. And that will be voted on tonight at the special meeting. Resolution 30, resolution authorizing the mayor to enter into an agreement with Lexico LLC for the purchase of software and services under the Sourcewell Consortium Lexipol LLC contract number 011822 LXP. Council President Mantello, at the request of the administration, is there a motion?
So moved.
Motion, Councilmember Steele. Is there a second?
Second.
Second, Councilmember Men. Is Andy online with us? Maria? Andy is not here. At our finance? Wow. Okay, that's odd. Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. You sure he's not? Okay. I can hear him. He's coming around the corner now. We do have a memo from Chief DeWolf on this, so hopefully members did see the memo. As you can tell, the software is all about additional training for their current policies. So we have a motion, we have a second, further
Council
discussion.
President.
Yes, Councilmember Soriento. Thank you. Yes.
So I was reading through it, and my one concern here, it says, let's see. Give me one sec here. Sourcewell's solicitation process complies with state of Minnesota law and policies, conforms to Canadian trade agreements, and results in cooperative purchasing solutions from which Sourcewell's participating entities procure equipment, products, and services. That's the one. It says a lot about Minnesota, and I'm just like, they comply with Minnesota laws and everything. And I'm like, okay, well, our laws here are a little bit different. So, they are, New York has different laws than other states.
Sure.
So my question about it is, I'm just worried
The
that.
whole Sourcewell contract, Rick can explain. This is Sourcewell. We actually have purchased fire equipment and
Okay.
other, yep.
The
Thank
basic thing that you get through Sourcewell is almost a national bid. Usually, if it's not an RFP, this one might be an RFP, but then you get a national RFP.
Mhm.
So all these vendors come forward and they bid, they submit their proposals or their bids to the Sourcewell Consortium. We are a member of that consortium. We're allowed to be a member under New York state law. The fundamental thing that you get is a price. Okay, and you also get whatever the product is that the vendor is offering. Lexipol, as far as I understand it, I can't speak totally for it. Chief Parker negotiated it. Is a national organization based in Texas, I think.
Okay.
Yes.
All right, and I believe they tailor their policies and procedures and trainings to the state in which they're operating.
That's what I wanted to make
So,
sure.
so as far as the legal requirements of New York law, they have to be up on those.
Okay.
And they'll be training our officers in accordance with New York law. And these are basically, but the policies and procedures are getting overwhelming. I mean, the police procedure manual is
Yeah.
5 inches thick now.
Yeah, no,
Okay.
I get it. I just,
Okay.
when I saw that and it says that they comply with Minnesota laws, I'm like, well, this is New York State. I just wanted to make sure that, everything is gonna add up to, and everything will be updated in accordance with New York State laws. So that's why I questioned it.
Yeah, otherwise it would be worthless to us.
Well,
Yeah.
that's.
Right.
Thank
Thank
you,
you.
Rick. I would ask Andy, Mayor, where is Andy? Okay. I'm just curious, the funding, it's about 30K. Oh, it is. It says 30K in here.
There's two
Oh,
numbers. I did see two
okay.
numbers.
Okay.
There's an implementation,
Oh,
which is about 30, and then there's an annual subscription, which I think is 26 or 27.
okay. I was looking at the annual.
Council
Okay.
President,
I think it's terminate, I think it can be terminated at time. My understanding is this is just approving the mayor, authorizing the mayor to enter into the contract. I don't think the funding is totally nailed down yet. So that'll have to be nailed down. Part of it they want to do through forfeitures, and I'm not sure that they understand exactly where they're going to get the rest yet.
Okay,
So the mayor will not be entering into the contract, as we've already discussed, until the funding is completely
okay,
solidified, which will have to be approved by the council.
okay.
Council-
Normally, we'll authorize the funding and then authorize the contract. So
And I don't know why. we're
I
doing it
know,
this way.
and it's not on you, Rick. Thank
Council
you.
President.
Council members.
Rick,
So
I
love her.
I saw somewhere
do.
where the contract says, up to 4 years and then we can extend it for a year. I did see that on there.
Okay.
So if, I did see a section where it said that this contract would be for 4 years. Is that accurate?
You're getting
Um,
great exercise.
Honestly, I don't know.
Okay.
Is that, I believe I believe it can be terminated for convenience at any time.
Okay.
So maybe the initial term is for 4 years. And
Yeah,
then
I
it
saw
can be
somewhere.
renewed,
I
but
lost
if it can be terminated for convenience, and then continue.
Andy, where have you been? Ah. Thank you, Rick. Rick
you.
tried to step in for you and he did an admirable job. Okay. Andy, we're talking about the Sourcewell contract for our police department for Lexipol. We're looking at 30K implementation, 27 and change subscription. We're being told the funding has not been identified yet.
So-
Can you?
The funding, the recurring funding, the subscription is in the police department budget.
Okay.
There will be an ordinance at if we can have a finance meeting on March 2nd, there'll be or
Okay.
whatever I can write. I just haven't read the
April.
April, I haven't read the ordinance yet. There's gonna be an ordinance appropriating funding from county forfeiture monies to pay the one-time implementation fee.
Very good, Andy. I will call finance for April 2nd. Okay?
Happy birthday.
Real? Oh, well. Oh, so for you, it's like a month birthday, right? Like celebration. Okay. Look at Steve is with us on his birthday. He's super happy. I can see. He told me all month. Anything else on that, Andy?
I don't think so.
Okay, cool. All right, any further questions? Motion second, resolution 30, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? All right, resolution 30 carries 6-0. Resolution 31, resolution of the Troy City Council scheduling 2 public hearings. 1, to consider the adoption of a new zoning ordinance replacing the existing chapter 285 of the Troy City Code, and 2, to consider a local law repealing the existing chapter 285. Council President Mantello, at the request of the administration, is there a motion?
So move.
Motion, Councilmember Conley Wilson, is there a second?
Second.
Second, Councilmember Steele. Before we vote on this, the first public hearing is scheduled for April 6th at 5:30. The second public hearing is scheduled for April 6th at 5:45. I apologize. So April 2nd is a Sunday. We will not be having a finance meeting on Sunday. I'll be calling the finance meeting before the regular meeting in April. So we will have public hearing 5:30, 5:45, a second public hearing, and then 6 o'clock. I will be calling the finance. So further discussion? All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Resolution 31 carries 6-0. Resolution 32, resolution appointing Commissioner of Deeds for the City of Troy. Council President Mantello, is there a motion? No, not the public hearings, the next one. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Motion, Councilmember Conley Wilson. Is there a second?
Second.
Second, Councilmember Men. Discussion. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? All right, resolution 32 carries 6-0. Thank you. I am looking at resolution 31, that's why. You know what? Rick, I'm going to ask just a clarification. Since the draft ordinance is attached to the public hearing, should I amend it now or should I amend it later? I'm thinking I have to amend it now. So we have to go back to 31. I'm talking out loud. We have to go back to 31. I did. Okay.
So-
We're going to reconsider resolution 31. Is there a motion to reconsider? Motion, Councilmember Conley Wilson. Thank you. Is there a second?
Second.
Second, Councilmember Mann. We're going to reconsider resolution 31. I am going to make a motion to amend the draft you'll see the ordinance attached to resolution 31 is attached ordinance enacting and amending a new zoning, land use, and development ordinance of the city of Troy, New York, to be codified as chapter 285 of the Tri-City Code.
Are you talking?
We're going to just do number 2.
So we're going to do two,
Oh,
which
they're
is
just doing number 2?
just number
Correct.
2, which is changing a setback in 285-34. Right now, it says 5 feet. It should say 15 feet. It's the standard, it's the older single-family neighborhoods, N2, and it says 5 feet maximum side yard setback, which doesn't allow for a driveway. It should be 15. And I promise you, we will be finding mistakes for the next 4 years.
So what
Please,
What I-
go ahead, Rick. Feel
What I
free.
think I could do, is add that change. All right, so the enactment ordinance that I draft contains in itself an initial amendment. If the council directs, I will add number 2 here to that enactment ordinance so that you'll be making all these amendments and they'll be considered at the public hearing.
Very good. Okay. So
if you want to.
absolutely. So I will make a motion to direct the Corporation Council to amend the proposed zoning ordinance to add number 2. I'll put that motion forward. Is there a second? Second, Councilmember Steele, discussion. So basically what we're doing right now, it's attached. We need to have the public hearings first. We'll be voting on it after the public hearings. What Rick, you'll see in the attachment, there are a number of amendments and errors that Rick caught. He put a lot of time, a lot of work. Steve has put a lot of time, a lot of work. I'd be remiss if, and I know all of us, thank you incredibly for all the time and energy put into this update. And we'll talk about it at a later date, but I just want to thank both of you. I just know the time you put into this. So what we're doing is directing Rick, forget about number 1, that's dead, number 2 only. Okay? So there's a motion, there's a second, all in favor? Aye. Opposed? Now on the amended resolution 31, is there a motion?
So moved.
Motion, Councilmember Men, is there a second? Second, Councilmember Conley Wilson. Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? All right, resolution 31 takes that next step, Steve. 6-0. All right, resolution 32 passed. Resolution 33, resolution authorizing the mayor to enter into an agreement with Vandermolen Fire Apparatus and Sutphen Corporation for the purchase of a new fire engine through the Sourcewell Consortium. Council President Mantello, at the request of the administration, is there a motion?
So moved.
Motion, Councilmember Steele. Is there a second?
Second.
Second, Councilmember Men. Discussion. Eric, as mentioned, you did come up with an idea. I would ask that you sit down with the chief, potentially the mayor and Andy at some point, come back to us. We have 2 weeks, okay? Thank you. Further discussion, questions? All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Resolution 33 carries 6-0. Resolution 34. Resolution authorizing the mayor to enter into an agreement with Stryker Medical for the purchase of 2 new Physio Control LifePak 15 cardiac monitor defibrillators for the Troy Fire Department. Say that 5 times. Council President Mantello, at the request of the administration, is there a motion?
So moved.
Motion, Councilmember Soriento. Is there a second?
Second.
Second, Councilmember Steele. Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Resolution 34 carries 6-0. Resolution 35, resolution authorizing a temporary expansion of the scope of services under the contract with Benetech Inc. for administration of the city's health insurance program and the additional expenditure therefore. Council President Mantello, at the request of the administration, is there a motion?
So moved.
Motion, Councilmember Steele. Is there a second?
Second.
Second, Councilmember Men. Discussion. Councilmember Soriento.
I don't, this has just, Andy. So this one right here is the UPSU union
Yes.
position, and the union did agree to this.
Yep, and they confirmed it that night, I believe, to the council president.
Okay, all right, I'm fine with that.
Very good.
Yeah.
And, you know, Andy, regarding the other half, you're moving forward,
I
correct?
had sent it to CSEA the next day, and I heard back from them late this afternoon that they're still reviewing.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Resolution 35 carries 6-0. Resolution 36, resolution authorizing the mayor to enter into a memorandum of agreement to share household hazardous waste collection and disposal services with the county of Rensselaer and the town of Bethlehem. Council President Mantello, at the request of the administration, is there a motion? Motion, Councilmember Conley Wilson. Is there a second?
Second.
Second, Councilmember Men. Discussion? All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Resolution 36 carries 6-0. Resolution 37, resolution in support of the City of Troy Community Solar Campaign. Councilmember Conley Wilson. Is there a motion? Motion, Councilmember Figueroa. Is there a second?
Second.
Second, Councilmember Men. We have Dylan Turek with us, and he's going to walk us through this fabulous proposal that appears to be fabulous.
Everybody, how's it going?
Hi, Dylan.
Yeah, so this is a pretty simple proposal. You might remember a couple of years ago, I think we tried to do a different type of opt-out, basically, solar. It's called community choice aggregation. This is very different. This is simply that we're going to opt in. It's going to be a certain date at which point people need to sign up. And that's where we're going to be looking to you guys to give us some help potentially, because we need to reach out. The more people we have in terms of negotiating power, the better the deal will get. So it's really important that we get support from everybody, get out into the community. We explain the situation. There's no change with National Grid. It'll still be National Grid providing all the electricity. The only difference is we get a credit now for the amount of solar that's being contributed into the overall network. So it's important that we get as many people as possible, and that should lead to the best deal possible. And hopefully there'll be some added benefits as well.
Thank you. And Dylan, when do you anticipate the RFP go now?
We're touching it up now. So I think maybe within the next 2 months.
Okay. And, you know, most of the council members, other than Council Member Gully, weren't here during the whole CCA. Were you around then? And did
Yeah,
you?
I
That was just, it went unfortunately downhill, and that was the delivery of electricity. I apologize. How is this different from that? And how will this succeed where that kind of went by the wayside?
Sure. So that was a very different situation. It's community choice aggregation basically
Yeah.
allows you to have an administrator in charge of your utility basically. And keeping in mind that when we did this, this was relatively new, especially for our state.
Right.
And the group that we had originally, I think, hired or that had won a bid to be our aggregator, I think it was Mega.
Yeah.
Right, Mega. They proved that they didn't really know everything they were trying to do. They were working with a group called Jewel. It seems like we were a little bit ahead of our time maybe on that one. I think it was a great idea, but it was very hard for them to basically clearly state what the benefits were going to be to the community. And as a result, what we actually got proposals, we only got one, I think, and it got rejected.
Yeah.
And so this is really simple. This is basically, we're not switching the network of electricity. We're not guaranteeing people that they have to do this. Or they have to opt out. You literally have to opt in. So if you don't do anything, nothing changes.
Thank you. Thank you, Dylan. The whole opt out, opt in. The CCA was an opt out. So everybody was in this and they had to opt out and people were flipping out. I seriously, like,
Right.
top 3 next to Sanctuary City, we got so much flack for the CCA.
Right. And they could have easily explained it because at the end of the day, we're still trying to achieve the same thing, which is you need
Right.
to get the most amount of people in the program. Because if you don't have that, it's the same thing as trying to purchase something from like a national place. You want to have as many people with the purchasing power as possible to say, we want this deal. And if you don't have a lot of people, they're going to say, well, yeah, we'll give you 2% off. Like they're not going
Right.
to give us a great deal. So the more people we can get on, which is why the opt-out made sense at the time. They
Yeah.
needed to negotiate it.
I get it.
Yeah.
Yeah. But people do not like to opt out. I mean, my own mother was like, what are you doing here? I'm like, anyway, great. Good to know. I had opt out, opt in on my questions for you. I appreciate that. I appreciate Gary's comments. What's the percentage that we need to really be effective in the pool?
I haven't seen any set numbers in terms of that. Typically with this type of structure, you're going to see anywhere from 5 to 10%, hopefully reduction in your bill. There are other sort of incentives that we want to receive though. Again, if you have enough people, they're going to have to build a new facility.
Yeah.
And that means we'd like to see it done locally with local labor potentially. We'd also like to see some workforce development contributed. If this is as much of a growing industry as it seems it is, I think they're going to be for that. But if we have enough numbers that 10 or 15 different people are competing in an RFP, I think that's really going to help us get whatever we're looking for.
Okay. Other municipalities, how many others are doing this now? Do you know by chance?
I don't, because since the last CCA sort of kerfuffle event and everything that happened with
It's a
with
good word.
COVID. Yeah, I went the right direction with that. And everything that happened with COVID, we kind of dropped a lot of the regional sort of plays in this. I think there's less communication than there has been, although it's starting to pick up again with some different regional actors. But we're all kind of running our separate ways at this moment. So there's opportunities to do more together. But I think for right now, this is the fastest way that we can offer opportunities for people to become, 100% renewable.
Does NYSERDA offer any dollars for trying to incentivize folks, or, is there any funds available?
That's part of the subsidy that they're going to end up using to give us the credit. So
Okay.
typically, because if you you have to be the owner typically of the system. And if you're not the owner of the system and you're just basically receiving the benefit, it's the company that's building it that's going to get receive the benefit. But there's on the plus side, there's still things like putting in more efficient, appliances, all that, like that there's a lot of money right now that's coming towards that. So we can work with people and help them find additional funds.
What about, is this in the climate action plan at all, or no? Did they?
The states or?
Yeah, the states.
So the states it's really broad and there's a lot in there.
I know.
A lot of it has to do
I
more with
don't
natural gas.
expect you to know it.
Yeah, I mean, switching. So we all have the responsibility to, as a municipality, try to get to a certain level threshold by 2045, I think. This will help us get there. It doesn't tell you have to do this way or that way. It's just, figure it out basically, because everyone's trying to figure it out. But I think we're in a good position right now.
This is great. You definitely answered so many questions. I really want to thank Councilmember Conley Wilson for spearheading this, and I'm sure you'd like to talk. And I want to thank the Sustainability Task Force for bringing this forward.
Yeah, I'm real excited about this because the memo that Dylan prepared said, it's getting us closer to decarbonization, getting us onto solar, and it also saves constituents and like customers money, while also, a good cause. And this has been like, years in the making of trying to get this through. And I like how it's opt-in. So you don't have to do it if you're not interested, but if you do, it really helps us kind of further our goals and get closer to being a climate smart certified community. And, just really excited about it. I feel like Dylan and Gary covered just about everything I could talk about. But I'm real excited about this and hope you guys are as well.
This is awesome. Thank you, Dylan. Thank you, Councilmember Conley Wilson and Gary. Yeah.
Council President.
Yep, Councilmember Mann.
And this is very similar to so National Grid on your bill has two different charges. The delivery, which is the cost of the wire running in and maintaining that wire, and then the actual electricity that flows through the wire. Like I know I've had my door knocked on by like different organizations that say, oh, we've got different types of powers, different providers, and New York being deregulated. So you could select who is your supplier the same way that like you don't get to necessarily choose the road you're driving on, but you can choose which gas station you stop at, if that makes sense, even though it's the opposite of, trying to fight climate change. And so like maybe one of the ways that we can help promote this is when people move, they set up a new National Grid account. You have the opportunity to choose a supplier, and that might be a moment where, as we welcome new residents to Troy, or when people move throughout the city, we can get them to do a number of things: register to vote, license their dog, and get the list of recommended suppliers from the city of Troy that we've connected with, or selected or promote. So I've certainly done that with my National Grid accounts, and it's a pretty simple process. So.
Good. Further questions, discussion?
I just
Yes,
forgot one other
Councilmember
thing,
Conley Wilson.
And Emily kind of reminded me, like, this also helps, folks understand which are legitimate providers and which are providers that might not have as best deals and resources. So I know there's been a lot of confusion about the community solar and the CCA. So this will kind of help direct folks.
The first thing when you mentioned it to me, council member, the CCA popped into my head and I'm like, oh my gosh. And I immediately said, this is not CCA, right? And council member Conley Wilson said no. But thank you, Dylan. And thankfully it is an opt-out. So, all right, cool. Further questions? All in favor? Aye. Opposed? All right, resolution 37 carries 6-0. Before we move to resolution 38, I apologize. Andy, now that you're here, I should have asked you on resolution 34. The total of the request is 74 and change for the, let's see, 2 physio control life packs and then 15 defibs. I'm not even going to go into defibrillators. Anyway, 74 and change is the money already budgeted. Thank you. All right. Resolution 38, resolution of the Troy City Council requesting state and federal aid to replace lead water service lines. I believe everyone is on this resolution now. So Maria, if you could please add everyone, and I'll take a motion.
So moved.
Motion, Councilmember Conley Wilson. We have a second, Councilmember Steele. On the discussion, I thought the resolution was very comprehensive, so I'll read that once we get to the special real quick, if that's all right. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Resolution 38 carries 6-0. It is now 7 o'clock on the money. Hold on. 7 o'clock. Do we have a motion to adjourn? Motion, Councilmember Steele. Is there a second? Second, Councilmember Soriento. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? We're going to go right into the special. I'd ask everyone to please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. And how about Councilmember Conley Wilson? Lead us in the pledge. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Maria, roll call.
Councilmember Gully is absent. Councilmember Figueroa, Councilmember Steele. Present. Councilmember Men.
Here.
Councilmember Conley Wilson.
Present.
Councilmember Soriento.
Still here.
Council President Mantello.
I am here.
6 are present.
All right, presentation of the agenda, 3 resolutions. They were just passed in finance. Public forum, would anyone like to speak on any item on the agenda of the special meeting? Okay, no one signed up, correct, Maria?
No.
Okay. Shoot. We'll get right into resolution 29.
Resolution 29, resolution of the Troy City Council authorizing Bryce Properties LLC to perform work on the city-owned portion of the Uncle Sam Atrium pedestrian mall. Council President Mentel at the request of the administration.
Is there a motion?
So moved.
Motion, Councilmember Steele. Is there a second?
Second.
Second, Councilmember Men. Discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
6 ayes, 0 noes. Resolution 29 passes.
The count?
I said it's 6 ayes, 0
Thank you.
noes.
Resolution 31.
Resolution 31, resolution of the Troy City Council scheduling 2 public hearings to consider the adoption of a new zoning ordinance, replacing the existing chapter 285 of the Troy City Code, and to consider a local law repealing the existing chapter 285. Council President Mantello at the request of the administration.
Is there a motion?
So moved.
Motion, Councilmember Steele. Is there a second?
Second.
Second, Councilmember Men. Discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
6 ayes, 0 noes. Resolution 31 passes.
Resolution 38.
Resolution 38, resolution of the
What was that?
heavy. Resolution of the Troy City Council requesting state and federal aid to replace lead water service lines. Council President Mantello, Councilmember Soriento, everybody on the council.
Please read them.
Councilmember Figueroa, Councilmember Steele, Councilmember Men, Councilmember Gully, Councilmember Conley Wilson, Councilmember Soriento, Council President Mantello.
Thank you. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Motion, Councilmember Soriento. Is there a second? Second, everybody, Councilmember Steele and all. On this resolution, I first want to say, all of us, whatever we can do to drive that inventory, be out there. It was truly amazing yesterday joining Councilmember Figueroa and Billy Carter from a local ministry and folks down in North Central. And people were receiving the flyer that we handed them. And they're like, what's this all about? So while we sometimes are so close to it and we think, of course, it's been in the news, it's on social media, it's been on the radio, and we're so close to it, we think that everyone has heard about it. After I posted, so many folks, what's this all about? What are you doing down North Central? So saying that the more we can do to drive that inventory up, obviously, the stronger we're going to be for federal and state assistance. And, quite frankly, anything we can do to build that inventory, I really feel that's our role right now. So this resolution obviously is imploring our state and federal legislators for more funding to replace lead water service lines, whereas the city previously was awarded 516 change in grant funds from the New York State Department of Health for the purpose of replacing lead water service lines in the city of Troy. And whereas the city has appropriated approximately $1,600,000 of its ARPA money for the purpose of replacing lead water service lines in the city. And whereas the city has appropriated another $1 million from the fund balance of the water fund for the purpose of replacing lead water service lines in the city. And whereas the estimated cost of replacing all of the lead water service lines in the city approximates $30 million. And whereas the vast majority of lead water service lines in the city are believed to be privately owned lines running from the curb stop junction box to the water meter, and whereas it would constitute a significant hardship for residents and owners of real property in the city of Troy to bear the entire cost of replacing all of the lead water service lines in the city, whether through property taxes, increased water rates, or direct payments to contractors. And whereas lead water service lines pose a manifest danger to public health and safety, not just locally in the city of Troy, but nationally and statewide. And whereas the magnitude of the public health problem caused by lead service lines requires that national and state resources be dedicated to replacing these vital components of our country's and city's infrastructure. Now, therefore, be it resolved that the City Council of Troy hereby requests that the New York State Legislature and Congress of the United States appropriate sufficient grant funding to be distributed to Troy and other similarly situated communities for the replacement of all lead water service lines in the municipal water system, whether public or privately owned. On a last note, I think all of us obviously recognize this is going to be just a huge effort. I did speak to Chris Whelan and the mayor. We're being informed that hopefully the RFP will be going out within the next week. Andy, Mayor, do you foresee the RFP? Is it looking like it's going out by the end of the week of next week?
I can't say for sure. I know first that 10 years they're I think it's and then next week I say the earliest, maybe really good the following week.
And we're looking hopefully at May to begin the replacement program. Should we get the contractors, hopefully the RFPs out for 30 days, get the contractors on board. Are you anticipating May or more toward June?
Maybe we start.
Okay, and for me, obviously, this resolution is extremely important because I think all of us, we don't want to see these dollars put on the backs of taxpayers. So I do know there's quite a bit of funding coming from the federal government on down. And hopefully if we can drive that inventory up, we'll be more in a position to receive additional funding. Obviously, though, we need to get that 500 out the door because if we're not spending that money, they're going to say, well, Troy's behind the eight ball. So the sooner we can get that RFP out the door, the sooner the contractor gets in and the sooner we begin to replace folks' lines. So whatever we can do to drive that inventory, we got to do.
Council President.
Yes, Councilmember Min.
Yeah, and definitely thank you to everyone that's been helping get the word out. And if people are interested in helping this Saturday, the Troy Democratic Socialists are doing a canvassing event to help people learn how to report in their lead lines. I believe they are meeting Saturday, March 25th at 2 p.m., 386 First Street, and then regrouping for pizza afterwards. And that's a good example of our community groups helping each other get the word out. And I would strongly encourage people to work within your churches, within your Boy Scout troops, your Girl Scout troops, your sports leagues, everything you can. I reached out to RPI to see if we can start a dialogue with them for reporting and supporting both through their alumni and their students and their various organizations. So I really appreciate everybody that's stepping up to the plate, especially for the reporting piece.
One of the things, though, I hope the groups also coordinate with our public utilities. And, that's why Councilmember Conley Wilson has been driving that dashboard, the interactive. That is key to knowing, who's reported for the inventory, et cetera. So that interactive dashboard is going to be key. Once we pass this also, I was going to amend the reso, but it doesn't need to be amended. Maria, it's very critical that once hopefully the mayor signs, which I anticipate, I'm going to stake my life on it, that the mayor will be signing this resolution. Once it is signed, Maria, if you can distribute this resolution to congressional reps Gillibrand, Schumer, and our local congressional reps, Tonko, Tonko, since he's Troy, and then our state legislators, Jake Ashby and John McDonald. So if they can get a copy of this reso, I would appreciate that. Okay, thank you. And Seamus will help you if you need addresses. Councilmember Figueroa.
I had a question in regards to the monies that was sitting there. Just a question for the mayor. Will we be penalized, or I know when it comes to federal money and grants, sometimes when you don't use that money, you have to pay that money back, or? Okay. All right. Yeah,
We're
and-
still in that timeline, correct, Mayor?
We have not received it.
It's a reimbursement.
Okay, okay. Okay, all right.
It's a great
Yeah,
question.
and also, to piggyback off Carmela's, very important that we partner up with the public utilities. I want to thank Chris Whalen and also the deputy mayor. He was able to get me like 400 copies in regards to, how to inform the residents on reporting the lead, how to get tested for lead, how to test the pipes for leads and stuff like that. So that was
Yeah.
helpful. He was actually there helping load the truck. So
Yeah,
big kudos and shout out to Chris Whalen for the help yesterday as well.
it was awesome. It was a great event. And, I would say it was great teamwork. We had some good laughs and pretty much like every vehicle that drove by, minus like one or two that flipped us off. No, I'm kidding. But minus the one or two, we got great participation, didn't we?
And also just to put it out there, like passing out the gallons of water was not the number one solution,
Right.
but it was to draw people. Hey, oh, there's free water. Okay, we can take this time to educate them. Like Carmela said, there was a lot of people that wasn't educated. So, however, people say, well, a gallon of water is not going to do justice. It's not going to do justice. It was kind of to bring a little, fun and bring awareness and also educate people at the time. Cause I think like most of the people that grabbed the water did not know,
They didn't. They
So,
really didn't.
right,
It was,
so-
it amazed me.
Yeah. So it was more
Yeah.
to bring awareness and educate people so that we can get inventory.
Yeah. And you must know, we should also thank Bella Napoli. We handed out some loaves of bread. Thank you to Mario Manila and the Bella Napoli crew. That was pretty cool. Some dinner rolls. And also something really unique, if you don't mind, the braids. That was a big seller. They had packets of really cool, I should have gotten you one, Maria, from Mr. Lee. Some really cool package braids. They were awesome. They were a big hit. So anything that, you can do to drive up this inventory. Of course, I turned and I said, how do you use these? So Mr. Lee was telling me how they're used. It was really cool. Thank you so much, Councilmember Figueroa. It was a lot of fun and, some really, really awesome teamwork. Thank you. All right. Further discussion. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? All right. Resolution.
6 ayes, 0 noes, resolution 38 passes.
Okay. And please, very, very important to send that to our federal and state legislators. No purpose of passing it if they don't know we passed it. All right. We now will open it up to the last public forum. Would anyone like to speak on anything going on in the city that you're concerned with or would like to support? Reminder to the thousands of folks out there, the NIP grant is due tomorrow, 4:30, close of business. How many have we received so far? Very good. That's awesome. That's awesome. I know of another 2 or 3 that you'll get tomorrow. That's awesome. Awesome. All right, I'll take a motion to adjourn.
Motion.
All right, everybody. Is there a second? Second, Councilmember Soriento, all in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion to adjourn passes 6-0. Thank you.